going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Coaches Convos. I'm Coach Will. I'm here with Coach Quan. I'll never get it right. I promise you. I'll never get it right.
What's up, guys? Coach Quan here. How you guys doing today? Hope you guys are all well. For this episode, we are going to be talking about how often should you be changing your training split, or how long should you stick to a set split or routine for a period of time. So that's what we're going to get into very briefly.
Yeah, absolutely. So this one's definitely a hard one for me because I fell in love with my bro splits in the beginning. I spent a long time on my bro splits, and then only recently, I want to say within the last, I've been training for about 5 or 6 years consistently, and maybe in the past year or two have I actually changed splits regularly.
Yeah.
Let's go into the positives of changing splits, and then we'll go into the negatives. You want to do it that way?
Okay. Yeah, most definitely. Something that I've seen, some positives that I've seen about changing splits, is just your body becomes accustomed to doing said exercises or said routines over a long period of time. So you may hit a plateau. So that's one positive. You're going to be hitting those results that you actually want to achieve by just changing up what you do, whether it be inside the gym or outside the gym as well, to keep that in mind. And then another positive is basically it gets boring on the floor. I'm trying to find a better word for it, but it gets so boring being on the floor doing the same exercise routines for a long period of time. Just to switch it up, having fun, doing something that you've never done before, or getting something that's actually super challenging to push you in a different way, to make you feel at least a little bit better about yourself in a way, is my biggest positive, my biggest takeaway about changing splits. I would say finding that fun factor, finding what works for you, since everyone's necessarily different. Finding some exercises that you could enjoy doing while knowing what has to stick into your routine and what has to get taken out.
Right, and we discussed a lot about program building in our last episode, so if you're a little lost, if you're just coming in now, joining us, welcome. I recommend you checking out that last episode we did where we really broke down why we do certain splits, when to do them, what they're best for, and the whole breakdown of doing splits before you can even talk about changing up your splits. But I do agree, I think it's great for plateau busting because it's very easy. Our bodies love to stay the same. Our bodies love to be efficient. So if we're not changing up our routines, it's very easy to have your body just be accustomed to it. You're not going to be progressing in your weight. You're not going to be progressing in your form. You're going to kind of just go through the motions, and you're going to find yourself in a plateau. This is also why it's so important to write down your lifts and write down your weights, so you can see, I'm plateauing. I haven't been able to get my form better. I haven't been able to get stronger, so maybe I should switch it up. Now, when you switch up, do you switch out just the days of the week and do the same exercises, or do you switch up your exercises? Do you switch up your reps, your sets? When you change things up, because I know what I do, but when you change up a split, how much do you change? Do you go completely 180 degrees, completely different workout, or do you change one day? Do you change a couple things? Give me a rundown and maybe some examples of a split that you swapped out.
All right, so personally for me, just if you're asking me, I would change my split. Either I start off on a common bro split where I'm doing chest Monday, back Tuesday, shoulders and arms Wednesday, and then legs again, and then I repeat that cycle throughout the week, and then I have 1 or 2 rest days, and then I change that up into like a push-pull legs. So that would be another way to switch it up, but I would stick to my bro split for about a month to 3 months, and then I would wait to see if I could make some progress and results, and then if I had a stalemate, then that's when I would decide to switch it into that push-pull leg split. But like I was saying before, everyone's body's necessarily different, so it depends on what the reaction I get from them, and also with their facial expressions doing said exercises. So say if it's one of my clients outside on the floor, if we meet two to 3 times a week, we're probably going to switch up the routine every month, I would say, maybe every month, or try and go a little bit past it to about 3 months as well. But then, like you said, am I switching said workouts or times? What I'm trying to do is trying to keep the time frame the same, but I'm going to switch the routine up, definitely. So I'll keep some exercises, some compound exercises shouldn't, be completely thrown out. You should keep some movements in your routine if you are looking to switch it up. I mainly focus, I call them accessory works, the smaller muscle groups. That's what I'm necessarily looking to switch. Different accessory workouts, still targeting the same muscle groups, but we're not doing the same workouts every single time that we're in here, trying to keep it new and fresh, where we're still hitting the same muscle groups, but that's more so how I would take an approach to it, depending on the client, depending on the person, feeling them out, seeing their expression, seeing how the workouts respond, seeing how their body responds to the said workouts as well, but that takes some time. So like I said, between 1 and 3 months, I'm looking to switch the routines up just to keep it fresh and keep the body not accustomed to doing the same routine over time.
Okay.
Yeah, what would you say?
So, when it comes to my clients, it's definitely in the same breath of plateaus. If I feel like I just had this conversation with one of my clients yesterday, he's doing great. He's trying to find, I just can't seem to get that stimulation. I can't seem to get that that last couple pounds down or anything like that. Excuse me. But so we just discussed changing up his splits. So now we're going to change up the order of the workouts he does. For him, I kind of know with his injuries and anything like that, we're not going to really necessarily change too many workouts because I know what works best for him. But we might change the time under tension. We might change the rep range. This is when I start doing isometric and eccentric work. But also when it comes to when to change a program, it can be as simple as when you're changing your goals. So I don't know about you, I change my split when it comes to my phases in competition, or when I'm doing my bulk or my cut, or if I'm just doing my lean bulk and my prep, anything like that. I switch it up. I also will switch it up when I'm looking to, if I have a different goal in mind, like say, right now I changed up my split this past month because I noticed my depth in my squat was starting to go away. I was going heavy, but I was losing the form. So I actually took my deadlift, I completely changed everything. So I started with making my Monday, my first day back, a pull day, and instead of a push day like I normally do. And then I made my pull day start with deadlifts, which is normally what I do on my leg day. So now I have my pull day being a deadlift, starting with deadlifts, so you get that thickness in the back, and then I do a form-focused day with my squat, and then a heavy day with my squat. So that is to change my goals. If you're trying to add a new workout to your routine, it might benefit to, if you're starting to add deadlifts, you might want to change when you do your back and your legs, so that you don't overstimulate your legs, overengage, and lead to injury.
Yeah, but let me touch on what you said, because I like that. The intensity, and then adding different things to make the workout harder for you is a different way of switching up the routine. So like you said, controlled negatives, time under tension, tempoed repetitions, all that stuff will play a major factor, and that should be thought about before you are trying to just up and switch the routine as well. Make the lightweight heavy, or focus on your posture and form, and go back down in weight, and then really start tracking your way back up will be a good thing to do before you just up and switch routines, I would say.
Absolutely, yeah. Quality over quality. I'm sorry, quality over quantity. Yeah. Completely opposite. You want to make sure, because
I knew what you were trying to say.
Yeah, no, thank you. You want to make sure that you're getting that mind-muscle connection, because that also, you might have lost the mind-muscle connection when you're getting stuck in this routine and you're stuck in this rut of your training. So before you change your split, I agree, change the intensity. So being mindful of the workout, not just going through, okay, Monday I'm doing chest and I'm going to go through these workouts, I'm going to do this motion, and then I'm finished. Actively saying, oh, I'm going to slow down my bench press. I'm going to maybe switch up from something as simple as going from barbell to dumbbell and seeing if you get a different response, because you will get a different response.
You will.
But yeah, I agree with you on changing up the intensity before you change up the split entirely. Unless, like we said, if you're trying to add a new workout. So there was one time I did a split that required me to do a front squat, and that changed up everything, the whole dynamic of how I trained. It was completely, I actually bought this program, so it completely changed up how I did training, changed up what I did for training, and I benefited a lot from it, and which is why I would argue, there is a time and place to buy programs from other people. because it gives you a different look on how to train, and you can see what works for you and what doesn't, and you'll grow as a program builder yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good for trainers. When I started training, I purchased these programs so that I can learn how to build programs, and everyone does it a little differently.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I did the same thing. Looked at the structure of how they wrote up programs so I could start doing it in the near future. I did the same thing right before I was a trainer. Before I got into training, I signed up for a program and challenge, and they gave me workouts to do for each day of the week, you know what I mean? But just like that, and I think when I first started, I think they switched up the routine every 4 weeks too, and it was a 3-month challenge, so they gave us a new routine every month.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also, so that's another thing, is your training block. So if you're training, like say you're training for a marathon, that's going to probably be a longer training block than say if you're training for a Spartan race, or if you're just training for longevity in the gym or anything like that. Timing is so important. So perfect example is our competitions. I always go back to that because that's the easiest one for us.
Yeah. It's right in the field.
Yeah, so like I had a year bulk from my first competition to my second competition. So that dramatically changed. I'm sorry, I had a year off in between. I had a year off season. So I was able to plan a longer, I had to think about a 6-7 month bulk, and then I went for the 14 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever, to do the cut. Now we're going from a November competition to an August competition. That's a much smaller window, so my training block is smaller. So my bulk is smaller. I'm doing from December, January, February, March. I have 4 months of my bulk, and then I have a 4-month cut. So my splits are going to change accordingly.
Drastically.
So that's another thing to think about when it comes to your training. What are your goals? What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? And break down the training blocks for that. And you don't have to necessarily change your split during those training blocks. You could probably change the intensity. You could change the rep ranges. So like maybe if you're trying to go for more muscle building, power-based training for 3 months, you can still do push-pull legs and just shorten the rep ranges. So I was talking about how you can adjust your training block to like
like our competition, we have a smaller time frame. We have about 4 months to bulk and then another 4 months to cut, so we have to work in those ranges and adjust our splits accordingly to that. So depending on what your goal is for whatever it may be, long-term lifestyle living or competing athletes, you have to work around, you have to make it make sense for you, and everybody's different. So I'm not going to tell you your workout split is incorrect or wrong, or I'm not going to tell you this workout is better than the next workout. As long as it makes sense for you and you're getting that response and stimulus, it's a good workout. And like I'm getting asked all the time, which workout's the best workout for your chest? Should I be doing the bench press? Should I be doing the dumbbells? And I'm like, you should be doing both.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Keep it simple. Try both of them out. See which one you like. Stick to one of them. Then once you hit a plateau on it, switch it up with the dumbbells, or even use the machines, or use the Smith machine, something like that. There's a bunch of different variations that you could be using inside of the gym, outside of the gym as well. So make sure you're taking advantage of all of them. Again, you don't want to become like bored of said routine, or you don't want to get tired of coming into the gym. So I would say find stuff that works for you, but then always try and mix it up accordingly, just so that you could get that fun factor in as well.
And also, like we talked about a little bit before, finding goals and setting goals. So having short-term goals and long-term goals will keep you from finding the gym boring. That's how I started with competitions. I needed a new goal because I wasn't really doing any. I was hitting all my weight goals. I was hitting all my lift goals. So I needed a more long-term goal to set.
Yeah.
And so that's why I went into the competition route. But always having goals, like it doesn't necessarily need to be a competition. It could just be, I want to try and fit into
the transformation challenge. You know,
it could be a transformation.
That's how it got me. And like you said, sorry to cut you off, but
You're good.
Like you said, that's how I started, was with the transformation challenge, and I was provided a program, so I sought out the help, and then even so now, being that I'm 5 years into training myself too, with my first year of competing down in the books, it was until last year that I held myself accountable, and then I set those long-term goals, and then I had a time frame to work in between with those goals, with that competition. So it all comes down to what you really want to do and what you want to accomplish, and you have to hold yourself accountable.
Absolutely. Another thing when it comes to changing up your split, you also want to work within your injuries and within your availability. So, like you were talking about bench press and, you know, doing barbell versus doing Smith versus doing dumbbell. If you have a bad shoulder, I wouldn't recommend you necessarily doing bench press. With a barbell, maybe going into the dumbbells, or maybe if your goals are more hypertrophy based, you get a better stimulus from a machine or from dumbbells again. But like I have one of my clients, we do 3 days a week. We were doing push-pull legs for a while, and he had a bad shoulder. And he wouldn't work out on the weekend, so he would come into the gym cold, and his shoulder would be, you know, bothering him when we do push. I switched it up. We start our week with pull, then we do push, then we do legs. And because even that one extra day in the gym of his body moving around and working that rear delt more on the pull day, his injury went away.
Yeah.
He's feeling better. He is actually doing push. Like, we weren't able to do bench press for a while. Any kind of bench press, chest press on the machine, everything caused him shoulder pain. Now that shoulder pain is gone, we were able to work on mobility, fix mobility, and now we're able to actually do push.
Yeah.
Proper push there.
Yeah, I like that. Now, here's what happened with one of my guys. My guy Carlos, I love him to death. We were doing full body 5 times a week, and he has a bad shoulder. Former athlete, he used to play baseball and stuff like that. So he has a bad shoulder from pitching and swinging and all that stuff. Played volleyball, did a bunch with the shoulder joint. So during our full body days, he was just getting extreme pain in his shoulders, and I would, recommend doing some boring, little stuff for it. And he's like, man, here's what I would like to do. I would like to completely throw out shoulder workouts. So every time that we met, we would do a full body workout Monday through Friday. We wouldn't target our shoulders. Only accessory works for our shoulders. So we didn't do any compound lifts or exercises for our shoulders. We would just target frontal delt, side delt, and rear delts, isolated them, just to eliminate the pains and aches, and then to make sure that we're still getting a little bit of shoulder works in there. So it wasn't like completely thrown out of the workouts.
Right. Okay.
But it was to make it make sense for his body. Now with the compounds that we would do every single day, we would do one for our chest, one for our back, one for our legs, and then some for our arms as well. But he was like, I can't do the shoulders. I literally can't do the shoulders with everything on top of that. You know what I mean? So it makes sense to do that way.
Military press you took out.
Military press, seated dumbbell press, Smith machine shoulder press. Everything would give him aches and pains. Overhead. Everything overhead gave him aches and pains.
Gotcha.
So it was right to chest level, right to shoulder level. That would be perfectly fine. And then just accessory works. Rear delts were fine though. But we had to make it make sense for him. I wanted to do like therapy for, mobility exercises, stability exercises, but he's just like, it's boring. It's boring. And I understand it is, but I'm not your physical therapist. So you know what I mean? You go to physical therapy to fix your stuff up. And then we come back, and then even so, it made it make sense for him. He didn't like doing the shoulder exercises, so we're not going to do the shoulder exercises. We're going to do the stuff that you like in our said session in a way. You know what I mean? So, but I do recommend taking care of that shoulder, Carlos, if you see this.
Oh, absolutely. And that's another thing, stretches.
Yeah.
Doing stretches and doing things like that. That's something actually I forced all my clients to, not all my clients, but most of my clients, especially my hour clients, that's how they end their session.
Yeah.
And I think it also helped with my guys' shoulder pain. But, like you said, it's boring, we're not the physical therapists, and that's the weird dance that we have to do as personal trainers, is helping them as much as we can while still keeping them up with their goals, because a physical therapist, and we talked about this before, the difference between a physical therapist and a personal trainer is the goals. So the end goal when you're with a personal trainer is to be stronger, healthier, feeling better, looking better, losing the weight, this and that. But part of that is the goal of the physical therapist, which is making sure that you're safely doing these motions. So being able to have that free mobility is something that we have to kind of dance around with. But I can understand why someone paying for a personal trainer rate might not want to spend 10, 15, 20 minutes doing mobility drills when you pay them to do compound lifts.
Yeah, but then that touches base on, because I definitely emphasized it with him, if we were to do that, what do you think would happen on our other exercises, our other movements, now that the pains or aches are gone from your shoulder? Everything else in your body will be improved drastically.
Absolutely.
But he's like, I don't care. So, I have to make it make sense,
Right. And that's the thing, and that is important that you still made him do shoulders. So he said, and that's, again, that's something that we have to do. We have to find the balance with our clients. Because some trainers might say, oh, you don't want to do shoulders? All right, we won't do shoulders at all. And so then that's counterintuitive. Like, that's not conducive to their goals. And so imagine them not doing front raises and side raises, and now their shoulders only going to get worse because you're not working it at all.
Not working at all.
I had a guy who, one of my clients who insists we don't do legs because his legs always hurt. You know this guy. He used to be your client too. And he's always, oh no, my legs hurt, I can't do it. And I know his job. His job, he sits all day. And so I said, hey man, your legs will hurt less if we move them. So, compromises, because that's, it's all about behavior modification and building up.
Yeah.
I'm not putting him on a leg press. Me and him, we're sitting down on a box and we're doing marches in place. We're doing body weight leg extensions. I'm just moving his legs.
Yeah.
I'm having him do calf raises. Yeah, that's all it is. Because when you're sitting, any kind of job like that, whether it's a desk job, a job where you're sitting in a car, anything like that, not having any kind of motion in your legs, they atrophy. And especially if you're a bigger person, now you have weaker legs that you're not actually putting that weight of your body on all the time, so your legs are going to hurt. So I told him we have to do at least one day. We do 2 days a week, one upper, one lower, and we got to do this body weight stuff, at least. And then you're going to feel better, and then your legs are going to hurt less. So listening to the client, but also knowing what's best for them and finding ways to encourage them. Another guy, I think I said this last week, he wants to do bench press, but I know that he doesn't have the balance, he doesn't have the coordination to actually successfully do a bench press.
Just listen, man.
Yeah.
Just listen. Man.
And
before we walk, we must crawl, guys.
Exactly.
We must crawl.
And so I made a deal with him because I know that's how he likes
keeps him motivated.
It keeps him motivated. I know he needs to lose the weight, so I know he likes skipping out his cardio. I told him, if you send me 5 days in a row what your cardio machine looks like after you do it, we'll do bench press. So far we've not done bench press because he hasn't done 5 days in a row. He walked out today, I saw him training with me, and then left, didn't do his cardio. So we're not doing bench press until he gives me those 5 days in a row.
Listen, man, that's what we need to do as the trainer, you know what I mean? So being harder on them so that they can reach their goals, and ultimately we have to be hard on ourselves so that we can be hard on them. But yeah, that was a little off tangent.
No, but actually we can kind of go into that now, because this is something I want to talk about. I want to talk about boundaries and setting boundaries and setting standards with our clients as trainers.
So now one thing that I say to all my guys, and I still use it to this day, and I would want some of you guys to maybe pick it up. I got this from one of my football coaches, the line of concentration. So as soon as I walk through those doors, boom, everything outside the gym, try and eliminate that, and then take on everyone else's problems inside the gym, and not take on their problems as a negative thing, but show them light and how we can make it into a positive. So the line of concentration is something that I've always went by, and I'm going to continue to go by, and I would like you guys to try it out. As soon as you guys walk into the door, concentrated, focused on the goals, my goal is to help people reach their goals. So, I'm going to take on what they need to do, and, So that line of concentration, some of the boundaries that I have as a trainer, the one thing that I try and do is I try and stay off my phone, whether it be in the middle of definitely in the middle of the session. I'm trying not to be on my phone. I'm trying to give you full undivided attention, and I would hope that it's likewise that way. That's just how we could stay completely concentrated. Your phone is a major distraction when you are in time for a session. Now, I get caught and lost doing it myself. When I'm in my workouts, I do avoid being on my phone. Only try to change the music when I'm on my phone. But I just now fell victim to shooting little text messages, wasting a little bit more time. It is easy to do that, but it's easy to just stay off of your phone to stay concentrated as well. It's not hard at all. So let's try and do that.
Absolutely, and that goes for the client and the trainer. But as a trainer, I do set a boundary, and I give them an understanding. Being a director of a team of trainers, as well as I have a lot of clients. I do let them know, hey, listen, if I'm on my phone, it's because I have to check with my boss about numbers, or I have to change a time. If I can help it, I won't do it. But sometimes I have a full day where I have back-to-back clients, and I have clients trying to reschedule and stuff like that. But I also have gotten really good, and it freaks everyone out here, and they hate it. I text without looking.
Yeah.
I'm fully engaged. I've gotten really good at, and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it's something I learned. It's a skill I picked up of multitasking enough on both sides, where I can text just well enough that autocorrect can save me, while I can also be engaged and have a conversation with you, and converse with you, and also count their reps and make sure their form is good. And I'll stop my text to correct form. Like, obviously you triage things. So if they're doing perfect form, you're counting out for them, making sure they're good. I can shoot out the text, hey, you can't do 3, can you do 4? I'm free at 4. And then sending that off and then putting my phone away.
Yeah,
I also have,
easy as that.
yeah. I also, I don't have it on me right now, but I also have an Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a game changer because it sends my notifications right to my wrist, so I can see if it's something that needs my attention right away or not.
Yeah.
Do I need to even take my phone out? So I can look, if it's a text from someone just having a conversation with me that I can wait until after the session, well, that goes down. But if it's someone trying to reschedule and it's like it's going to throw off my day, anything like that, I will. But again, I agree. Try and limit how much phone you use.
Exactly.
Be there, be present. If you cannot handle not being on your phone, that's a different story.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to be engaged with your client,
Mm-hmm.
and they can tell and they can feel it. They're paying money to train with you, but in the same breath, you're also paying money to train with me. So don't waste my time and don't be on your phone texting people back that you don't need to. If you have to take a call, I totally understand. I'm very open with that.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
stopping in the middle of your set is crazy. But if we're doing a rest and you happen to get a call, or you finish your set and then do a call, all that's fine. A lot of our clients have kids, or they have families, like elderly parents.
Emergencies happen.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So we have to be definitely lenient on it. But it is just a boundary that does get set. Just knowing that I'm present, I would like you to be present too. And then with that being said, I wanted to segue into being on time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say next.
Like, I can't vouch for this enough. I even struggle with it myself. I'm always been a late runner until I started, being on appointments. It took me until being a trainer and then missing my first few clients that I had at 6:30 in the morning. Like, I don't know why you do that to yourself, but yeah, it was like I would miss my appointments here and there, and then that would just make me feel like complete crap. And then being late 5 minutes, 10 minutes, anxiety starts to spike. It goes and just ruins the entire day. It sets you back. Now you have to give them extra time, an extra 5 minutes, throws off your next client if you have back-to-backs. Then now the entire day is 5 minutes late, if you understand. So you're spending the entire day just to regroup and start to feel better about yourself. But I definitely let being late throw my days off, so I try and be on time as much as possible. And on time is, I hate to say this, but it is 15 minutes early. Now, well, if I'm here 15 minutes early, sitting at the front desk, say it's 6:30 in the morning, I'm going to be really, really upset, really, really mad with you if you were to not show up, not call me, not text me, or if you were to text and call me after our session has started to cancel, or if you're still strolling in 5-10 minutes late. I don't mind about 5 minutes. Please try to, be a little bit earlier, but once it gets to about 10 to 15 minutes, I'm thinking about canceling out the session, charging you for that, and then not even training you for the rest of the hour. You have to think about my time. It is valuable, but I do know that your time is very valuable, so that's why I value it, and I'm here. So that's all I could ask. I have a bunch of people that come in on time, and I have a bunch of people that come in not on time.
Not on time at all.
One of my people, to just touch base on it, I became accustomed to him. Now, we would meet every single day at 7:30. At 7 o'clock, but he would come in at 7:30. Our appointment's at 7 o'clock. Why are you coming in at 7:30? You know who you are. I love you to death. Why are you coming in at 7:30? Now, he would wake up, he would shoot me a text, 7 o'clock. on my way, getting ready or whatever. And I'm like, all right, so I understand what he does when we work out. He takes his time too. He's like really slow with everything. But he told me one day he procrastinates. Like he wakes up, he sits in his bed, he's just standing there.
Mm-hmm.
Like he'll wait till the last minute till something tells him that he has to get ready and up and go. I'm like, all right, so here's what we're gonna do. Why don't we switch our workout to 7:30? It's that simple. So now I don't have to go there early. You could still wake up at the same time, procrastinate, do your thing, but then you'll still be there at 7:30. We switched our times. We started being there. I started going there at 7:30. He started meeting me for 7:30, and it worked out like that. So that was just me being more accustomed to him and finding out how he actually works as a person outside the gym. So he was telling me he just procrastinates everything. You know what I mean? So this is just another thing that he has to work to be better on. I definitely I tried to get him to do that, but couldn't. So I'm not going to keep pressing him about it. I'm going to work with him instead.
Right, no sense. And if he's not going to change, you can't change him. So
yeah,
you might as well keep your schedule proper, making sure you're not losing your time and make sure you're not losing your mind, because that's so infuriating. Yeah,
literally losing my mind.
I have a guy who's 30 minutes late to a 30-minute session. Again, love him to death, and I have him today. We'll see if he actually shows up on time. But I sat him down and I had to explain to him, like, listen, my time with you is very limited because I'm getting busier. I need to have an hour for our half-hour sessions. So if I have someone right after you, you're probably not going to get booked at that time. So we had to find times that I have an hour free because you can't get here on time. And I had to sit down and have a discussion with him. And, because I'm like, you are always late. It's never, once in a while it's fine, but you're either always late or canceling last minute. And I get it, things happen, but to be ritualistically late drives me crazy. I am the opposite. I am an hour early to everything.
Yeah, and that falls onto, I don't mean to say it in a negative light, but who you are as a person. If you're going to be late every single day to no matter what appointment it is, it's not a good thing for long-term success in anything, you know what I mean? So as long as you take it as serious as possible, you're not going to want to be late. And then knowing that the trainer's time is valuable, you're not going to want to be late regardless. Now I have one guy who comes in 5 minutes late every single day. Maybe 7, maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe 12. He'll shoot me a text. He'll be like, I'll see you then. I'll see you at this time. I'll see you at this time. Our appointment is set. It is extremely disrespectful to get that text. It makes me feel like complete crap. What do you mean you'll see me at 12:05 when our appointment's at 12? Mm-hmm. Then you're going to ask me to make up the time or give you like a stretch at the end. I have other appointments, like you just said. We do have busy schedules, and we're trying to pick up more. So you have to take our schedules into account as well. So that's all I can really say about the time schedules. It's hard being on time, but when we're going back to back to back, got a full day, 6:30 to 7:30. It's hard to mix match times and easily reschedule. Be like, oh, it's okay that you didn't want to come in today because your toe hurts.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not okay.
But it is like you said, it's who you are as a person. Like, I do agree with that. Obviously, it doesn't tell you as an entire person, but it does show your level of discipline and your level of empathy and sympathy towards other people.
Yeah.
I hate, and this was even before I was a trainer, before my livelihood based on appointments. I felt bad when if I was wasting people's time. If someone came and expected me at a certain time, I showed up, even down to when I was training with my workout partners. And I remember they used to get so mad at me because of how punctual I was, because they were not punctual. So I had a guy who his car broke down for a little while, so I was driving him to the gym, which helped us both be accountable to go to the gym. So I said, all right, 11 a.m., right? Yeah. All right, cool. I'm going to be at your house at 11 a.m. And there I was in his driveway at 11 a.m. And he would be shocked when I was at his driveway at 11 a.m. and would get to my car by 11:20 because he woke up at 11 a.m. And so it shows, like, if you set a time, I'm setting that time, so I'm going to, now my day goes around that time. So if I have 5 a.m. clients, I have 6 a.m. clients, I'm getting here as early as I can. I set my alarm for an hour and a half earlier. I wake up at 3 o'clock every morning to make sure, because sometimes I do fall back asleep. Sometimes I do procrastinate. Sometimes I have to, I want to make sure I get my food before I leave the house. I don't like running late because if I don't have my mind set up for the day, especially like you said, we have long days. If you don't have your food, if you don't have the amount of times I've forgotten a shirt to change to work out in,
right now,
infuriating. Yeah, infuriating. And then it throws off your whole day. So I can't, and I'm...
Here, let me say this. Without order, there's chaos.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, 100%. And I cannot function like that.
I can't function like that.
Either. My whole mood changes if my people run late. It kills my day, and it's something that that's an issue on my end. That's a me problem that I have to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting better at that. Yeah. Honestly, it kind of worked out that I have someone who's habitually late because it's making me change as a person to get over it, but also setting that boundary with him.
Yeah.
So he has an understanding. I have someone directly after you every day. You have a choice. Either, because he's rolled in at 6:30 for a 6 a.m. Session. And I told him, you either can trade for 30 minutes with me and we can do as much as we can and you lose a session, or the first couple times I gave him the option to make it up. But after a while, I also sit down with these guys anytime I do an early morning client. So if you're a trainer starting up and your early morning sessions, you need to lay down with them. Now, in our contracts with our clients, there's a 24-hour cancellation policy. I understand that things happen, so I tell people, I sit them down, especially my evening clients or my clients with families and all that. Listen, I get things happen. If things happen and you need to let me know, if you give me enough time, I'll still give you the session. Early morning, you're not going to give me that time, because if you're not showing up, you're probably sleeping. So if I'm going to make myself get up, if I'm going to wake up and I'm going to get myself to this gym first thing in the morning, when I know I have a day that doesn't end until 8 o'clock, 8:30 at night, you're going to lose a session. And I make that abundantly clear with them. I'll give you one or two because, life happens. I've overslept. I'll never forget the day. I overslept for my 6 o'clock. I texted him profusely apologizing. I sent him a workout. A half hour later, he texted me, "Oh, it's okay, I overslept too." We both missed the session.
And you still had those terrible feelings.
I felt guilty. I felt
woke up and didn't care.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
You were going crazy in your mind because you were running late. He woke up and didn't care.
Yeah, and that's just how they say it. Now, mind you,
it's like that. Yeah.
I want to shout out my guy, actually, because this is the 4th session we've done in a row that he's actually showed up not only on time, but a couple minutes early. Oh. And I haven't said anything yet because I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah.
When he goes to number 5, I'm going to say, "Hey, man, you're killing it. You're doing good." And that's another thing.
Wise words of encouragement.
Praise. Praise. That's how you change behavior. Negative, beratement and punishment does not change behavior. It just changes behavior when you're looking. As trainers, we're changing these people's lives. We're changing how they act as people, how they act as in the gym, and everything.
Ooh, I have something to demonstrate, but it's gonna make a mess. I'll do it after.
Yeah, let's do that. And let's not use other people's supplements to make a mess. What is wrong with you? You better just abuse.
But even so, yeah, no, definitely. I fell victim to it. One of my little faults. I was dealing with some car troubles. My car, I had to change my battery for a long period of time, so I had to jump start it every time that I wanted to go anywhere. And I travel gym, so yeah, exactly. Still struggling. So I would leave this gym and I used to take a 30-minute ride out to Middle Island, get to that gym, and I would do HIIT classes over there at 6:30 p.m. So I would finish here, my Parisi Kids Club, at 6 o'clock. It's a 30-minute drive, and I would have to jump start my car. So that would take me about 5, maybe 10 minutes. Every single day for about a period of a month or a little bit longer, I was about 5 to 10 minutes late to my HIIT classes. Now, they worked with me, but some of them still were upset. I had about 8 ladies that wanted to be trained, and I would get there at about 6:40. Now, the class started at 6:30, and I would have them warmed up. One of my ladies, she took over after a period of time. She took over and warmed them up and stuff like that. But she would. One of the ladies had a smart thing to say. She said, "Why would I warm up without an instructor?" It's as simple as that. So now I had to take it into an account, and I had to fix myself up, get into a better position, get a new car so I could stop being late, or fix up my car so I could stop being late for my ladies. It's not just for me that I need them to understand. It's what I have to do so that I can give them the best of the time that they're trying to, get their workout in. So, that's what happens to. It happens to everyone. We could all fall victim to being late, but just taking the right steps to hold yourself accountable will lead you in a better direction in the long run, in my eyes. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's it's the same thing. You have a set time. You have to make out of respect for them. I want to make sure I get there at the right time to make sure that I'm giving them my full attention, my full time, because
time's limited.
Yeah, it's just like our clients. So if we say 6:30 every day, and then our client shows up at 6:40. Yeah, we'd be pissed.
Yeah.
And I felt I was guilty of this for a little while too. With my my first morning client was at 7 a.m. and that was look at me now. But I would show up late and it was my own fault because I would leave with just enough time to get there at 7, but I had to cross train tracks every morning. So some days I would make it at 7. Some days it would be 7:05 because the train. So finally, I had to take it to myself because I kept blaming the train. I was like, wait, it's not the train's fault.
Literally.
It's not the train's fault.
Blaming my car.
I gotta leave early enough that even if I hit a train, I'm still gonna get there on time.
Yeah.
And what's funny? Once I started getting there earlier, there was no train because I was not on the train schedule anymore.
Time, yeah.
And I would be here a couple minutes early, and that goes a long way with the client. The client shows that you're respecting them, so they respect your time as well.
Yeah, so that's just another boundary to have, but not only just with clients, but with yourself, holding yourself more accountable to being on time for timed intervals and frames, just knowing people's times are valuable, and we're not looking to waste anyone's time here. We're trying to, get some results. Definitely. Do you have another one? Or?
When it comes to setting boundaries, me personally, I really have a limited. I'm very friendly with my clients. I'm very, open with my clients. I let them into what goes on in my life, but I also have a emotional boundary with my clients, just for both of our safeties.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you're a personal trainer, you're also a therapist because a lot of people kind of unload onto you, and the boundary on that actually comes more on your side when it comes because obviously you can limit with how much you personally share with them, but you can't limit how much they personally share with you.
Yeah.
So the boundary on this end is more what you take home with you. And I'm a very empathetic person.
Very.
It's very hard for me. I used to hold everything very close to me whenever people would talk to me about stuff. And this is something that I had to learn because I'm in this field where I'm dealing with people's emotions. I can't hold on to everyone's divorce, everyone's financial troubles. I can't hold on to everyone's, family issues. You can be there for them. You can show that sympathy and empathy in that moment with that person, and you can be there with your client. And I think you should be there with that client. I don't think you should be a cold trainer. I don't think you should try to ignore their feelings. But in the same breath, I can't go home thinking about these people's livelihoods and putting that on my own personal strain. I could be there for them, but that's something that I think that was something I had to show one of our trainers because one of our trainers struggled with that. He was very empathetic as well, and he really took home a lot of these people's problems, but also he took on a lot of rejections. So he was our guy that did sales calls, and in this you're a person-based business, so you're gonna hear a lot of no, and he did not like that in the beginning. So that was something I had to sit down with him and focusing on compartmentalizing your emotions with your clients, being there and present with that client, or being there present with that fitness assessment or that person that you're trying to sell, but not taking anything from that moment home with you, from that hour block of time, that 30-minute block of time. And that's something that I did with my clients that are more difficult. So my clients that are very exhausting in the session, whether they're always late, whether they're miserable during the session, whether they're trying to do their own thing, whether anything like that, I can't let that affect my next client or me as a person.
Yeah.
And it did for a while. That was something that I noticed really bugged me, and that's something that I had to still work on and compartmentalize.
Yeah, no, everyday process, definitely. I would agree.
So we'll wrap up there.
So we're going to wrap that up.
Thank you guys so much for watching. When I post the next video, I'm probably going to do a Q&A. I'm going to have you guys send us questions. Please send us anything that you want us to talk about when it comes to fitness, being personal trainers, businesses, any advice that you have. You guys want, ask the coaches, and we'll do a whole part of the session where it's just a Q&A where you guys can send us questions and we'll answer them either anonymously or shout you out. If you have any TikTok videos or Instagram Reels or anything that you see, whether it's fitness-based or nutrition-based, I would love to break these apart. And yes, I would love to
break down good, bad, what you should follow, what you shouldn't follow, if it's informative or not. We'll help you out here.
And we'll also verify. We're not going to only look at the bad stuff. You can take the same person, they can say one thing that's very true and one thing that's very false, and we'll shut them both out and we'll emphasize both of them. So, appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for listening. We'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Next one. Peace.